Welcome to the Tech Talks Daily Podcast, where you can learn and be inspired by real-world examples of how technology is transforming businesses and reshaping industries in a language everyone can understand. Here is your host, Neil C. Hughes.
Welcome back to the Tech Talks Daily Podcast. Thank you so much for your kind messages about hitting 1,000 podcast interviews. They still keep coming in. I mean, speaking of which, would you mind if I check that now? Or is that too rude? Glad you don't mind. I won't keep doing it, I promise.
Please leave your message after the tone.
Hi Neil, this is Dan Albone from Morristown, New Jersey, USA, and formerly Global Business Development for Sony Digital Paper. Congratulations to you on your great efforts and your 1,000 episodes of the Tech Talks Daily Podcast.
I did speak to Daniel twice on this podcast. It was an absolute pleasure to have him on, and someone that I hope to meet in real life in New York as well next time I'm over there. I've had so many people message me over the last few days, and one common theme that seems to be coming out from two people in particular have said, Neil, do you have any plans for any blockchain and crypto interviews in the next few weeks, or is the space dying off now? Well, there are two answers to that question over to Danielle and Martin, who both asked similar variants on the same theme. If you are listening, the space is not dead. And winter might be coming, but crypto winter is dead. And today we've got a great guest from this space. So hopefully that answers your question. Because we have the CEO of Cypherium waiting to speak with us today, which is an enterprise-focused blockchain platform that prioritizes both scalability and decentralization. And they also currently announce partnerships with IBM and Amazon Web Services and has its first permissionless blockchain to implement the open-sourced hot stuff consensus algorithm, all with a view of driving increased performance and security. Is it just me, or do words like hot stuff consensus algorithm get you a little bit hot under the collar? So a massive warm welcome to the show, Sky. Can you tell the listeners a little bit more about who you are and what you do? Excited about? So let's get Sky onto the podcast now to learn all about it.
And I went to Pepperdine University and Draper University and studied computer science there. And I started Cypherium 3 years ago. My passion is the internet, technology, and blockchain. Cypherium is a new public blockchain infrastructure and smart contract platform. It's similar to Ethereum, but much faster and secure. And we adopt a hybrid proof of work and hot stuff consensus. We use proof of work as the leader election, which is fully decentralized and permissionless, and hot stuff as the Byzantine fault-tolerant algorithm. Hot stuff is also adopted by Libra, but Libra is permission and centralized, and Cypherium can be regarded as the fully decentralized Libra.
My understanding is Cypherium is an enterprise-focused blockchain platform, and what I find exciting is that it prioritizes scalability and decentralization. And the reason I find that so exciting is because there's so much talk about how do we increase adoption at the moment, and I think those points there hammer that home straight away and solve that problem. But we will have people listening in and outside of the blockchain community, so just to get everybody on the same page, can you tell me a little bit more about what Cypherium is, and also the kind of problems that you set out to solve with it?
Sure. Currently, the biggest roadblock for blockchain adoption is that the infrastructure is not ready yet.
Yep.
For example, Ethereum is too slow. It can only process no more than 12 transactions per second. But, Visa can process over 2,000 per second. And also, other blockchains like EOS and Tron, although their speed is a little bit faster, but still they are too centralized, and they are not a blockchain in a real sense. So that's why we need a more decentralized infrastructure And for the consensus mechanism, we need it to be fully Byzantine fault tolerant, because that's the only way to secure it. And also, we need absolute finality. Do you know that Bitcoin only has probabilistic finality? That means Bitcoin's data can fork at any time, as long as there are miners that's colluding together, so they can create double spending transactions. And even if a transaction has been processed over 1 hour or longer ago, there's still chance that it be reversed. So Bitcoin can never be completely secure. While Byzantine fault tolerant algorithm provide full finality. So that means once a transaction is committed, it is permanently recorded. And also, Byzantine fault tolerance algorithm has total ordering. So that means all the transactions are ordered by their time, and that is a requirement for smart contracts. The problem of Byzantine fault tolerance algorithm is that it's really hard to scale. Like PBFT can only scale to no more than 20 nodes, and it has not been widely adopted yet. So we chose the newest version of this kind of technology, which is called hot stuff. So hot stuff greatly reduced the complexity of the classic BFT algorithm, and it can scale to hundreds or even thousands of nodes. That's why Libra is also adopting hot stuff. Moreover, Cypherium is designed to be friendly to developers. That's why we adopt the Java virtual machine instead of like EVM or like Move, because Java has the biggest supporters and developer community in the world. So, Android is also based on Java. That means any Android-based application can be easily migrated to Cypherium blockchain. And developers don't need to learn a new language. They can just reuse the code they already did with minimum modification.
And one of the problems I keep seeing holding the community back is that lack of partnerships and lack of adoption. And communities often get frustrated at the lack of partnership news, but equally the companies themselves are locked down to NDAs. But I was incredibly excited to see that you recently announced partnerships with both IBM and Amazon Web Services. So can you tell me a little bit more about that and also how this came about?
Our blockchain first released as the permission or enterprise version, because permission version is a fully trusted environment, and the nodes are fixed. So it does not have the hassle of processing dynamic memberships. And we launched our permission version on Amazon Web Services and IBM Cloud, so that users can try our technology on these platforms and start building smart contracts. It's easy that we can create a virtual machine or an instance and communicate our blockchains through the web APIs. So you could find the instructions on the AWS website and our GitHub. And all of our software are currently provided as free. And after we finish our development of the permissionless version, we will launch our mainnet.
Excellent. And I believe you also became the first permissionless blockchain to implement the open source hot stuff consensus algorithm. I mean, is that right? Is that correct that you're the first guy?
Correct. Yes. We have filed patent for our algorithm for the process that's called reconfiguration, which is the dynamic change of the validator nodes in the network. And we filed both US and international patents.
And something else that really stands out for me is it appears that Google is making another move towards blockchain too, as Cloudwing recently partnered with Cypherium. Can you expand on that?
The Google partnership is similar to our partnership with AWS and IBM Cloud, that we are launching our enterprise version on Google. But Google is more involved in the startup community, so that they provide us more support, like co-branding, marketing, and other resources, like driving more adoptions and building the developer community.
Well, I mentioned it earlier, but what about the adoption problem in the industry? Are you seeing that beginning to change now? And what are you guys doing differently to other people to try and tackle that problem and encourage greater adoption in the industry?
Yeah, definitely. This is changing rapidly right now.
Yeah.
You must have learned that the president of China, Xi Jinping, just announced the big plan for driving the blockchain adoption in China, because China wants to become a leader in this space. So you could see that China central bank, the PBOC, has already been working on its own blockchain central bank digital currency project for many years. And China aims to become the first country to launch its own digital centralized digital central bank currency. And despite not just besides China, but you can see that in the US, Mark Zuckerberg has been lobbying about the importance of Libra and the blockchain. So we can see that the whole world now is embracing this new technology, and there will be a lot of new competitions. And we, Cypherium, because we have very strong academic and research background, we have one of the members of the IC3, the Initiative for Cryptocurrencies and Contracts, which is the leading research organization of blockchain, so that we have the most advanced technology in our hand. And our goal is to benefit and create a new standard for this industry with the best technology.
And at the beginning of this year, 2019 was widely tipped to be the year of enterprise blockchain. Do you think that's still the case, or do you think next year is much more realistic?
Because this year has only 2 months left.
Yeah.
So I'd say next year will be the beginning of the real massive adoption of the blockchain technology.
Yeah, I completely agree with you there. And for any business leaders listening to our conversation today and are thinking about exploring enterprise-ready blockchain, what advice would you offer to them about doing their own research and what resources that they can actually trust out there?
Well, in a conference at IC3, they stated the 6 biggest challenges that blockchain adoption was facing. And one of the challenge is that what use case that really needs a blockchain. Many of the enterprises are currently using legacy systems like SQL and web application, web servers, these legacy infrastructures. And is there any incentive for them to switch to a blockchain? And that's one of the first biggest challenges. And also, blockchain is a distributed and collaborative system. So it's not going to happen if only 1 or 2 organization or company is using it. It has to be a whole, like an industry-wide or society-wide adoption and collaborated effort that's highly coordinated and guided by like a government and NGOs and technical experts. So, for example, as the supply chain is a very good and mature use case for blockchain, but supply chain has multiple links. For example, there are manufacturers and storage and customs and warehouses and retail and consumers. So in order for the blockchain to fully be integrated, all of these links have to be recorded on the blockchain, and that is not an easy effort. So that requires a lot of coordination and participation. And the first thing is to educate blockchain to the general people, so that there are many good resources online that teaches about blockchain. And after that, I think the enterprises should assess whether they need a blockchain and what kind of benefit they can get from adopting the blockchain.
And of course, it wouldn't be a crypto or blockchain podcast interview without asking about roadmaps. It's almost the law now. So I've got to ask, is there anything else you can share with us today about the road ahead and possibly leave us with a teaser of things to come next year?
As we have already launched the enterprise version on multiple cloud platforms, our technology is already available to use. And our developers currently are testing the permissionless open version for our blockchain. And we estimate that we can finish our development by end of this year and also launch the mainnet around the same time. And for the next year, we will begin work with many big enterprises and government organizations to create more use cases. And we have already created several use cases, and we're about to publish more details.
And for anyone that would like to find out more information about those details or where you're heading and stay up to speed with the news, or even join your community, what's the best way for listeners to find you online and join your community or contact your team if they do have any additional questions?
Please visit our website, Cypherium.io, and you could find a list of social media on our page, and also our GitHub link is there. So we put all the newest information on our social media and the GitHub.
Excellent. And there's so many great points you raised there, in particular, how so many businesses are sat on legacy infrastructure and just waiting for that right use case for blockchain to arrive before, obviously, they move forward with it, adopt it, and make 2020 the year of enterprise blockchain. So it's going to be an incredibly exciting year next year. I hope you stay in touch. I'd love to get you back on and see how that year is progressing. But more than anything, just a big thank you for joining me today. Thanks again, Scott.
Sure. Thank you very much, Neil. It's been a pleasure chatting with you.
I read a great tweet by Cypherium today, which said that Mark Zuckerberg stated that Libra only benefits to the US dominance, and he said that during the congressional hearing. But Cypherium will serve the interests of all. It was a great tweet. But an enterprise-focused blockchain platform that prioritises scalability and decentralization, that for me is incredibly exciting, and bringing real enterprise adoption into the space. But I do get easily excited, so please share your insights, positive and negative, and let's explore those uncharted digital waters together. And you can do all that by emailing me, techblogwriter@outlook.com, tweet me at Neil C. Hughes. But more than anything, just a big thank you for joining me again today. And hopefully you can join me again tomorrow. We'll do it all again. So until next time, don't be a stranger.
Thank you for listening to the Tech Talks Daily Podcast with Neil C. Hughes. Remember, technology works best when it brings people together.